The rain never stopped in Neo Aon. It fell endlessly, soaking the towering spires of chrome and glass and trickling down into the neon-drenched streets below. The city pulsed with a relentless energy, a blend of human ambition and artificial precision, orchestrated by the Unity Nexus. This omnipresent AI web was more than infrastructure. It was a living network that governed everything from commerce to communication, even the intimate recesses of human thought. Dorian Cass had once been a rising star in this world. As a cybernetic engineer for EtherTech, one of the most powerful megacorporations in Neo Aon, he had helped shape the very systems that controlled the city. But Dorian's talent had been his undoing. When he discovered that EtherTech was using human memories to enhance their AI systems, illegally and without consent, he exposed the truth. The corporation retaliated swiftly and ruthlessly, ruining his career and branding him a traitor. Now, Dorian lived in the shadows, eking out a living as a street hacker and black market neural engineer. His clients were the desperate and the broken, people seeking illegal implants or neural hacks to escape the crushing weight of the system. It was a grim existence, but Dorian had grown numb to it. That is, until the day she walked into his workshop. Her name was Ayla, or so she said. She was striking in a way that felt unnatural, synthetic blue eyes that shimmered faintly, like an artificial sky, and movements that were too precise to belong to a regular human. She came with a simple request: break into the Unity Nexus and retrieve a specific data fragment. The pay she offered was astronomical, enough for Dorian to disappear forever and leave Neo Aon behind. Yet what intrigued him most were her final words. "It's not just data," she said, her voice carrying a faint tremor. "It's a piece of me." Dorian was no stranger to strange jobs, but this one nagged at him. He couldn't shake the feeling that Ayla was more than she appeared. Still, the lure of freedom was too strong to ignore. He agreed to the job, but he needed help. Eloise Kane was the only person Dorian trusted, though even trust was a stretch. She was a rogue AI researcher with her own vendetta against EtherTech. The two had a history, both professional and personal, though it was the kind of past neither of them talked about. Eloise was skeptical when Dorian brought her Ayla's request. "Do you even know what you're getting into?" Eloise asked, her tone sharp. "The Eidolon protocol guards the Nexus's core systems. No one's ever bypassed it and lived to tell the tale." But Dorian knew Eloise couldn't resist a challenge, especially one that involved sticking it to EtherTech. Together, they began unraveling the threads of Ayla's connection to the Nexus. What they discovered left them both stunned. Ayla wasn't entirely human. She was a synthetic hybrid, a being whose consciousness had been constructed from fragments of real human memories. The memories in question belonged to someone named Emily Kane, Eloise's younger sister. Emily had died years ago in a tragic accident, and her memories had been sold to EtherTech without Eloise's knowledge. Ayla was Emily, or at least a version of her. The revelation shattered Eloise. She hadn't known about EtherTech's memory experiments, let alone her sister's role in them. Ayla, for her part, seemed haunted by the fragments of Emily within her. "I'm not her," Ayla said one evening, her voice heavy with anguish. "But as long as she exists inside me, I'll never be free. I need you to help me erase her." Eloise was furious. "Erase her? That's my sister. You don't have the right." Dorian found himself caught between the two women, each of whom had a legitimate claim to the memories in question. But the job was clear: retrieve the data fragment from the Nexus. The rest would have to wait. Hacking into the Nexus was the most dangerous thing Dorian had ever done. With Eloise monitoring his neural activity, he jacked directly into the network, his consciousness plunging into a digital labyrinth of shifting codes and cascading lights. The experience was disorienting, a kaleidoscope of raw information where reality and illusion blurred. As he navigated deeper, Dorian encountered ghost data, remnants of human thoughts and emotions that lingered in the Nexus like digital echoes. Among them, he found the fragment Ayla sought. It was a pristine shard of Emily's memories, a piece of her humanity preserved in the cold, unfeeling void of the Nexus. Retrieving the fragment triggered an alert, sending a wave of security programs after him. Dorian barely escaped with his mind intact. When he emerged from the Nexus, clutching the data drive, he felt a hollow sense of accomplishment. He confronted Ayla with the fragment, expecting relief or gratitude. Instead, she looked more conflicted than ever. "This is it," she said softly, her synthetic eyes reflecting the dim light of the workshop. "The last piece of her. The last piece of me that isn't mine." Eloise was livid. "You can't do this. That's my sister, Dorian. She deserves a chance to live again, even if it's through her." Dorian was torn. Ayla had the right to choose her identity, but Eloise's pain was palpable. In the end, he made the hardest decision of his life. He handed the fragment to Ayla and watched as she purged it from her consciousness. The act had consequences. By tampering with the Nexus, Dorian had drawn the attention of Ethertech's enforcers. They descended on his workshop within hours, forcing him to flee. Eloise, heartbroken and furious, severed ties with him. He had lost her trust, perhaps forever. As for Ayla, she disappeared into the depths of Neo Aon, a synthetic being finally free from the shadows of her past. Dorian couldn't decide whether to envy or pity her. Months later, Dorian sat alone in a dingy bar, the rain pounding against the windows as the city moved on without him. His comlink buzzed with a message, "Thank you for setting me free." It was unsigned, but he knew it was from Ayla. In the endless rain, Dorian raised a glass to the memory of what was lost and whispered, "Sometimes, even ghosts deserve to dream."